Welcome everybody. Today is the 13th of August, 2024, and it's the day of Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av. And what we're doing really during Tisha B'Av is mourning the destruction of the first and second temples of Jerusalem, which represent the mind and heart of Israel. The first temple represents the mind, the second temple represents the heart, and they were both destroyed, which means our relationship with Hashem has descended since the destruction of the temples. Really, it began with the golden calf incident, which happened 40 days after we received the Torah. Ever since that moment, the people of Israel have descended in terms of their relationship or connection with Hashem. But the truth is that we're really planting ourselves for when we're going to come back. And we're going to come back, and it's happening right now. Right now, we're dispersed all over the world. Right now, we're dispersed both on a spiritual level and on a physical level amongst the impurities of the world. And it's an ongoing struggle to make our way back, not just to the physical land of Israel, but to the spiritual state of Israel, which means wholeness, oneness with our own mind and our own heart. And today, in synagogue, during the Shacharit prayer, the morning prayers, we read a portion from the Torah, Parashat Va'et, which was the section from Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 25 through 40. And I want to read you this section in English so we can get a better idea of what this day is about and how to move forward, given that we are currently in exile. And just to give a brief summary before I read, this section is a warning to the Israelites about the dangers of idolatry after they settle in the promised land. It cautions that turning to false gods will lead to their exile and scattering among the nations. However, it also offers hope, promising that if they sincerely seek God in their distress, they will find Him. The text emphasizes God's mercy, reminding the Israelites that He will not abandon them or forget His covenant. It concludes by affirming God's unique power and urging the Israelites to obey His commandments for their well-being and the longevity of their days in the land. So here's verse 25, Devarim chapter 4. When you beget children and grandchildren, and will have been long in the land, you will grow corrupt and make a carved image of anything, and you will do evil in the eyes of Hashem, your God, to anger Him. The first verse starts out with a prophecy. This is a prophecy from the Torah. He's saying that there will be a time that you're going to be worshiping idols and you're going to do evil in the eyes of God. There's going to be a time when the people of Israel turn astray. A prophecy from the Torah. I appoint heaven and earth this day to bear witness against you, that you will surely perish quickly from the land to which you are crossing the Jordan to possess. He's saying that when you don't keep my commandments, punishments come upon you. The people of the earth, the nations of the world, are going to turn against you, and you're going to quickly perish from the land of Israel. You shall not have lengthy days upon it, for you will be destroyed. This is the punishment. This is the consequence of turning astray from Hashem. Hashem will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left few in number among the nations where Hashem will lead you. That's what happened after the destruction of the temple, when the Romans came and conquered Israel in the Second Temple era, and they destroyed the temple. From that moment on, we were dispersed all over the world. Some people went to Spain, some people went to Europe, and from there, some went to Iran, some went to Iraq, some went to Germany, etc. And the rest is history. But we all emanate from the same land, that land called Eretz Yisrael, the Holy Land. And once we turned astray as a nation, Hashem scattered us among the nations. And that's what happened. He led us into those places. There you will serve gods and handiwork of man, of wood and stone, which do not see, and do not hear, and do not eat, and do not smell. He's telling us that whenever you get dispersed, whenever you go to Germany, when you go to Iran, etc., you're going to worship idols. You're going to serve gods, plural, lowercase g, the handiwork of man. That means you're not able to serve me properly. The way that you're supposed to serve me is in the land, with the commandments, in a state of spiritual consciousness and connection. That's called worshiping Hashem. But when you're in the nations, it's not just a physical state of dispersion. Remember, it's a spiritual state of exile as well. You can't serve Hashem in a state of spiritual exile. From there you will seek Hashem, your God. And this is where things now turn around. He's saying from the nations, from the exile, you will seek Hashem, your God, and you will find Him. This is an unbelievable prophecy, promise from the Torah. That's what's happening right now as the Jewish people are beginning to awaken in terms of their desire to connect to Hashem, their desire to return to Israel. And if you search for Him with all your heart and all your soul, you will find Him. You have to have the ratzon. You have to search for Him with all your heart and all your nefesh. Your nefesh has to be yearning, longing for elevation and connection with Hashem. When you are in distress and all these things have befallen you, at the end of days, you will return unto Hashem your God and hearken to His voice. At the end of days, that's right now. We are living in the last generation. For Hashem your God is a merciful God. What did you think? Hashem's going to abandon you forever? You think He's going to break His covenant with you? There's no such thing as a merciful God that is going to completely disregard His children. That doesn't make sense. There's no such thing as a merciful father that abandons his kids. It doesn't exist. You will return unto Hashem your God and hearken to His voice. For Hashem your God is a merciful God. There's 13 attributes of mercy that God really embodies. El, Rachum, Chanun, Erech Apayim, Verav Chesed Ve'emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nose Avon Vafesha V'chata V'nakeh. God, merciful, compassionate, patience, slow to anger. These are all the attributes of God. He will not abandon you, nor destroy you. This is coming from the Torah. For anybody who believes, whether you're Jewish or you're not Jewish, that the people of Israel have been abandoned by God, this is for you. He will not abandon you, nor destroy you. Go look at it for yourself. Verse 31, Devarim chapter 4. The Torah is telling us He will not abandon Israel. And He will not forget the covenant of your forefathers that He swore to them. God made a promise. He swore. He swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that their descendants will inherit the land. For inquire now regarding the early days that preceded you, from the day when Hashem created man on the earth, and from one end of heaven to the other end of heaven. He's saying, do some reflection. Think back from the time of Adam up to now. Has there ever been anything like this great thing? Or has anything like it ever been heard? Has a people ever heard the voice of God speaking from the midst of the fire as you have heard and survived? He's saying, reflect on what happened on Mount Sinai. The revelation of the Torah in front of the entire nation of Israel, in front of the righteous, and in front of the Erev Rav, the Egyptian converts that followed us out of Israel, which became part of our people. There was a revelation on Mount Sinai. Has there ever been such an event in human history? No. A unique event. Has a people ever heard the voice of God speaking from amidst the fire? We know that in the time of the revelation of the Torah, Mount Sinai was set on fire. Not in a bad way. It was a blazing fire to represent the severity, the intensity of the revelation of the Torah. It was a very dramatic experience. Or has any God ever miraculously come to take for himself a nation from amidst a nation, with challenges, with signs, and with wonders? Deeds such as everything that Hashem your God did for you in Egypt before your eyes? He's saying, think about what happened in Mitzrayim. Think about the Yeshua, the salvation that Hashem has brought us by saving us and rescuing us from the hands of Pharaoh. We came up and out of Egypt, but only by the hands of Hashem. Remember the 10 plagues? Remember the demonstration that Hashem fought against Egypt to show Pharaoh that there's nobody as powerful as Hashem. Pharaoh was wrong to believe that he was the ruler of the world. Hashem is the ruler of the world. Yud, Hey, Vav, and Hey is his name. You have been shown in order to know that Hashem, he is the God. There is none besides him. Ein od milvado. There's nothing besides God. And now you know. You have been shown, and now you know. Because knowledge is attained through experience. And we experienced this. Each and every soul of Israel has this experience within them. They have to access it and remember this event, because we have been shown to know that God is the only true God. Hashem is the only true God. And more importantly than that, there's nothing besides him. It's not like God exists and the creation exists, or God exists and then there's also evil that exists. No, there's nothing besides God. Everything is God. It was created by God. It emanated from God. That means Ein od milvado. From heaven he caused you to hear his voice in order to teach you. And on earth he showed you his great fire, and you heard his words from the midst of the fire. Because he loved your forefathers, and he chose his offspring after him, and took you out before himself with his great strength from Egypt, to drive away before you nations that are greater and mightier than you. Those nations, those goyim that are right now, we're scattered among the nations, they're stronger than us. They're mightier than us. To bring you, to give you their land as an inheritance as this very day. Meaning, he's giving the land of the nations to Israel. When Olam Haba, when Mashiach comes, Israel is going to be the world. And modern day Israel is going to be Jerusalem. And the whole landscape, the whole spiritual landscape is going to shift, because the whole world will become holy. Therefore, the whole world will be the Holy Land. Israel is the Holy Land. But then modern Israel is going to be the city of Jerusalem, the Holy City. It's going to be a very big shift in consciousness and geography. You shall know this day and take to your heart that Hashem, he is the God. Hashem hu ha-Elohim. The attribute of divine mercy is the same as the divine attribute of judgment. You know, in the Muslim faith, they call God Allah. Allah comes from the word Elohim, the God which refers to the attribute of judgment. There's one God, but there's many names. The name Elohim, or Allah, corresponds to the Midat ad-Din, the attribute of Din, judgment, justice, strength. That's the energy that punishes. That's the attribute of punishment. But in the Torah, we go a step further. Hashem hu ha-Elohim. That Allah, that Elohim, he's actually Hashem revealing himself with the attribute of judgment. But it comes from Yud Hey Vav Hey, which is the attribute of mercy. Even the judgment, even the punishments, even all of the terrorism that Hashem is bringing upon Israel, it's coming from the divine attribute of Yud Kei Vav Kei. Because Hashem hu ha-Elohim. That's the secret of the Shema Yisrael. That's what a lot of people don't realize. All of the terrorism, all of the anti-Semitism, all of the persecution that we're seeing is coming from God. It's all coming from God. And it hurts. But like a loving father, it hurts him more to punish the children than it does for the children to receive it. You shall know this day and take to your heart that Hashem is God. In heaven above and on the earth below. There is none other. Again, Ein od milvado. You shall observe his decrees and his commandments that I command you this day, so that he will do good to you and to your children after you, and so that you will prolong your days on the land that Hashem your God gives you for all the days. So that's what we just read. That's the promise of exile and return. When you go away from Hashem, you go into exile. But even from that state of Egypt, from that state of exile, there is a salvation that is only waiting for you to scream out and recognize that only Hashem can help you. There is no way out of this exile, if not through the help of Hashem. There is no way to Mashiach. There is no way to Israel, both on the physical and spiritual level, if not because of the salvation that Hashem and the mercy that Hashem is going to show Israel when they scream out in unison to desire the redemption. And that's the name Yishmael. God will hear the suffering of Israel under the persecution in the end of days, which is what's happening right now. The persecution of the end of days is right now. This is the suffering of Jacob. This is the sorrow of the people of Israel in the end of days. But we have to turn to Hashem, therefore Yishmael, that He will hear our prayers and our deep desire and longing to return back home. And may we merit to see the rebuilding of the third and final Beit HaMikdash in the Holy Land and within our own beings. The first temple is our mind, second temple is our heart, and the third temple is the body at large, which is the eternal dwelling place of the light of God. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please share it with your loved ones, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't be afraid to share this video with your loved ones, as we know that we are trying to reach as many souls as we possibly can with the wisdom of the Torah, specifically its inner dimensions called Kabbalah, which is the mystical secrets that are contained within God's holy Torah. And I invite you to join me on this effort to spreading this wisdom to the four corners of the world so we can prepare for what we've all been waiting for, the final redemption, where Israel will be redeemed along with the righteous Gentiles.